Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Pucker's New Jersey Devils podcast. Let's go Devils!
I just got a notification on my phone that the Uncle Puckers are going live. That's pretty cool.
We got to get on that.
We should go watch them.
Yeah. I think it'd be more fun to watch them than to be them.
How's everybody doing?
Just pretty good. How about you?
So I finally junked my Jeep today. Had a company come in. They just pulled it out and got rid of it. And then I had, you ever used those 1-800
cars for kids?
No. The junk people that come and pick up all your shit. This was a different company. Different company came, took my truck. But then I had so much shit that over the years. Pluggers? Yeah, it was something like that. So I had them come today. So I was, what's up, Ruffer?
Hey, Mike.
And so they came today, and a couple of my buddies at work were like, "Oh, I used them. They filled up a whole thing, cost me like $200." I'm like, well, "What am I doing this other bullshit for?" I'm like, fucking, I could get for $500, get a 10-yard dumpster in there, but then I got to load it all myself. These guys will do it for $200 or $300. $850. The dude quoted me when he got here today. I was like, "That's not." No, I'm not doing it. I got him down to 500. So I got 300 for the Jeep. It cost me 200 out of my pocket, and now all the shit's gone. So that's the way I looked at it.
Oh, yeah. I could have got it. I'm collecting Jeeps in the barn.
This guy just wanted the catalytic converter. That was it.
Is he tweaked out? He's like, I just want the converter.
No, man. The dude, he was like real. He was legit. Like, he's just like, no, they're worth money. We can swap them out. I can use them to trade for other car parts that I need. So that's what he does. So yeah, he was cool.
That's what he does. He sells meth.
Well, he might sell meth. I mean, not like that raccoon that smokes meth and then drives cars.
Everybody needs to make money somehow.
Have you guys ever had a wart? I know it's disgusting, but have you ever had a wart?
I honestly don't think I ever have.
I don't know.
I've never had a wart.
I'm not sure I want to go down this road with this conversation.
Well, where it is.
Because
I got one on my thumb. I thought it was a wart. I'm like, what the fuck? There's this little bump, right? And so I bought
rash.
These
Cancer.
No. They were different than the ones on my dick. But
Chris just jumps right into it. He's like, stop with the around the corner jokes. I'll just put it out there.
I could have seen that coming a mile away.
So I bought these Compound W Band-Aids that you keep on and they're over the course of like weeks and weeks. What this thing does to your skin is insane. Like, it cut the skin all around this little round. Those stupid little games where when you were a kid, you got to put like the square peg in the square hole and the round peg in the round hole. Like, it looks like a round peg.
Like Trump's cognitive test.
Right. Yeah. Man, woman, horse, stove, fence. Man, what? See, I'm perfectly fine.
I'm greatest.
Nothing to see here. It's that Joe Biden. It's the weirdest thing. Like, the skin just completely separates from the fucking wart.
Just the wart you're trying to kill, or your surrounding skin get all fucked up too?
It's all getting fucked up. It's so fucking weird.
So now you have no skin on your thumb?
I don't even think I'm gonna have a thumb when I wake up tomorrow morning, Tim. This is how crazy this has gotten.
What are you gonna stick in your ass?
I can't fit anything else in there, dude. Fucking tight.
That was already pretty loosened up.
What kind of van did you get, Ruffer? Like one with no windows and a box of puppies in the back?
Yeah, it says free candy on the side.
Hey kids, want to see a puppy?
Who wants a lollipop? I had about 15 years ago. I had this. We're telling gross skin stories.
Yeah,
Let's do it. I had a skin tag on my back. And it was weird. It's like this weird thing. It was kind of hung off my back. It was pretty gross. And my wife was kind of like, "That's fucking gross." And then went to the beach. People were like, "What the fuck is that thing?"
That's gross.
That's gross. And I was playing hockey once, and this dude raked my back. He like cross-checked me in the back, and then kind of raked down. And I kind of felt something. I was like, "Oh, that's weird." went back. You know, it was kind of end of the game. Went back to the locker room, and this guy on my team was like, "Your back is covered in blood."
Oh shit!
Like my jersey was covered in blood, and this thing was just like a fucking like geyser, just like spitting blood out of my back. So we had to like ice it, and like I had to get a fucking ambulance, and I went to the hospital. You know, like this was like it was a lot of blood, and I went to the hospital, and they put one stitch in it.
How was it?
One.
One.
I was
It's crazy. It caused
Big
that much
man.
bleeding
It
for
caused that-
one stitch worth.
But I was like,
Well-
yeah, I got a hockey injury, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of
Hockey injury.
skin and
Ever,
backs,
you know, I no longer because it was like something I was gonna have to go get like surgically removed, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
well, that's it. There we go. That guy took care of that for me.
freeze it off. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Bob?
I said, so speaking of skin and backs, I'm like 90% sure I don't have cancer, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, good for
That's
you.
great. Was there a 10% chance that you thought you did? What are you talking
I'm
about?
no, I'm 99.9% sure that I don't, but with the test scenario, so I got a couple of like birthmarks on my back. Wife said, "Listen, I think this looks weird. Get it checked out," which I did like 2 years ago. Dermatologist said, "Yeah, these are one's a birthmark and one some other fancy word." I'm like, "So that's basically a birthmark too?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Molly.
So then
Molly,
they said,
molly,
"But
molly,
you know,
molly,
if
molly.
anything changes, let us know." And I don't see my back,
You
obviously.
know how hard it is to tell if a mole gets any bigger,
Right.
or you know what I mean? Like,
So
Just moves
Jamie
around.
noticed it,
take the compass
know,
out.
and I'm like, you know, in the mirror, I'm like, okay, yeah, it does maybe look a little bigger, whatever, no big deal. So I went to a new dermatologist because we weren't as happy with the other one.
Because they
And
told you you're fine.
well, no, I mean, she's like, okay, she looks at the one, she goes, yeah, that's definitely a birthmark. She goes, oh, that one, She's like, let me see, and then she just like,
Jesus.
right, she like scrapes, she got her little gloves on, she goes, this is coming right off. See, and I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know that was gonna happen. She's like, I'm gonna biopsy this, just to make sure that it's nothing. She's like, here's what's gonna happen. Takes about a week. If you don't hear from us, no cancer. And her name's Yang. She's just like, hi, I'm Yang. Not Mrs. Yang.
Good,
not
good
Yang,
bedside
just
manner.
Yang.
It sounds. Yeah.
And then
I
she's like,
mean-
if you don't hear from us, no cancer. If we call you, then we're going to have a conversation. And then she said that was about a week. So after a week and then 2 weeks, I started feeling more comfortable. And then at 3 weeks, I got the diagnostic bill, which tells me that they must have gotten the results. So I'm 90% certain that it was nothing because I just haven't made it the other 10% because I didn't pick up the phone and say, seriously, can't we talk about this either way? I just really want to make sure because you peel something off my back with your finger and then you cut it out of me. So just
I
want to
kind
make
of
sure.
feel like maybe
This is
a
fucked
way-
up.
right?
That's basically what you did. I'm like, okay.
It's
You
like,
have
oh, this isn't good.
cancer.
What
so
I don't
what
like
is it?
about that though, it's like yeah, it's gonna take us maybe a week, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. If you
Right.
don't hear from us though, like we're not gonna
Don't
call
hear
you.
from us, you're in the clear. Like,
Yeah.
I think I should make a
It's
phone
gonna
call.
take like 3 to 10 business days, and it's just like,
My-
what the fuck? Like, just call me.
They should say, look, if we call you, we're going to schedule an appointment. You come in. If everything looks good, you'll get an email that just says that the results were, benign and blah blah blah.
Right.
Like, so why they can't even send an email? Email?
Because now I
Sorry.
want to know, at least tell me what
Or
the
a
heck
text.
they were saying. It wasn't like a scabbed cut. Like it was something different. Like the skin around it was very soft. But she was just able to like,
Which is
Left-
gross.
This is
Yeah, it's
leftover
definitely gross. Now it
leftover
looks great.
enchilada.
Like, I don't know. What yeah,
How the
right?
enchilada get on my back? Fucking weird. Things responsible for all my fucking health issues.
I just so can't stop eating Mexican despite the tooth. It's crazy.
Mexican food?
Mexican
Oh,
food.
Yes.
Mexican food.
I had Chipotle tonight.
I was
That's
wondering where my-
Tex-Mex, so I like Tex-Mex a little
I
bit
like
better
it
than
too.
straight up Mexican.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that too.
So, you guys have any thoughts on these series going? Because there's still hockey going on. There's a game on right now in the other room. Connor Hollebuck pooped the bed again. Come on, man. What's going on with this guy?
It's just
I mean, that's what I called. I did not. I don't think that the first round did anything for him. I don't understand why he's performing the way he's performing. So
Came
I
back
lost
and
all
had a
faith in him.
shutout the next game.
yeah.
Whatever.
I just
Let's
think Dallas
see.
is a better team, man. Like they weathered Colorado. Or not even weathered. They just dispatched Colorado quicker than I thought they would. But now that they're pretty much fully healthy, like they're just yikes. They're a fucking wagon. I mean, it's going to be Dallas and Edmonton, right?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
I think I've been wrong about almost every single series.
Yeah,
Every single one. I think I've gotten like two picks right.
I got one of them right with the games. I think that was Toronto. I think I took Toronto in 5 over whoever, and that was what over Florida. No, over Tampa. No, I took Tampa. What am I talking about? I had one of them in 5 that I got right, but I think every other one I got wrong.
Yeah.
So Mike Ruff, a question for you: is there like legit steam out there in British Columbia about Quinn Hughes coming to New Jersey? Hey, what's up, DJ?
What's up, DJ?
We are doing good, buddy. I'm curious about that because I have now seen something that I'm curious about what you guys think, because I know how I think. There's been some shit going around, just 1-for-1. Nico Heischer for Quinn Hughes. I think the idea of having Quinn Hughes is amazing on this team, and I would love to have him, but not for Nico Heischer. I don't.
Where'd you hear that?
It was on whatchamacallit. There was a Vancouver reporter actually had it out
Yeah.
there. I wrote a whole article about it online. He was from there, and then he mentioned like Bratt and Dougie and a pick for him, or 1-for-1 Nico for captain, and he had another one or so trade scenarios. But in my opinion, like you're kind of cutting your nose to off to spite your face by trading Nico Heischer for Quinn Hughes. Like, we kind of need them both. That's part of the deal. Bob, thoughts?
Yeah, I don't do that for sure. Leader, captain, everything he brings and what he brings on the defensive side. It's so hard to replace that. And we're not exactly a defensive liability. So this is more like the icing on the cake, getting a guy like Quinn. We had a great defense last year. So I would not do that.
Yeah, I don't.
We killed two real quick though with Quinn. Like, you killed 2 birds with 1 stone, because we need offense, and this dude is offense, and he's a very good defender. So you're getting, kind of fixing. Well, not really fixing the defensive problem, but helping it, and sort of definitely helping your offensive problem. So I love the idea.
Yeah, I mean he will absolutely help whoever he's on the ice with. Like, that's not a question. I think we'll see an offensive uptick for some of the depth issues that we had, regardless.
What the frick is depth? What are you talking about? You sound like you're speaking an alien language. What is this depth? I don't know what this is.
Just before the show, I was sitting around on my chair by myself, just contemplating what depth is.
Where is depth? Hang on. Someone sent me a definition earlier. The strength of a sports team and its reserve of substitute players.
That person should now become general manager of the New Jersey Devils.
Very specific.
Yeah.
I have
Wait, so it's attainable.
That was me that wrote it. You ding dong.
Can I just back up for a second? So Quinn for Nico, like I mean, whatever. I think we should do whatever we can to get Quinn here. I don't think that makes sense, but also it's kind of like, what direction is Vancouver going in? I think for them, they are teetering on blowing it all up, especially if they're giving up Quinn. I don't think Nico makes sense in return for that. I think it's more of a Nemec and more futures, so to speak. Yeah. Maybe like a Nemec and Salayev and a first-round pick or something like that, or Nemec and a Mercer and a pick. And then depending on when, like this summer, it's going to be a lot more. Next summer, it'll be a little bit less because there's less term on his contract. The only 1-for-1 that I think I'd even remotely consider would be Bratt for Quinn.
No, I would absolutely consider Bastion for Quinn 1-for-1. I would consider Lazar for Quinn 1-for-1. Tatar for Quinn 1-for-1. Yeah, there's tons of people.
I mean, if you want to get Alvin on the phone and suggest Palat for Quinn, I'm happy to.
We'll even throw Nate Bastion in.
Yeah, I know. You know what? Yeah, you can have the signing rights to Nate Bastion.
There you go.
Not even Nate Bastion, just the option to potentially sign him.
So Mike Ruff wrote something that is sort of interesting, and I'm curious, Mike, is this actually true? It says it's more keep Quinn by signing his parents to hockey ops. Like, is that something that Vancouver's talking about? Like, we can just bring mommy and daddy somehow into the organization, and Quinn will be happy to stay here, and then maybe we can get Luke and Jack here, and we could have the whole family. Like, is that seems, because Tim, I agree with you 1,000%, right? If you are moving off of Quinn Hughes, you're rebuilding. Like, there's no competing next year or anything like that.
Right.
Like it is okay. Let's break this down and build it around EP40 if that's what you are planning on doing. I'm guess, but I honestly think that you got to do like you said, Siliev, Nemec, Mercer, and a first,
Like, just
something
give them
of
all,
that
give them
nature.
all picks. I don't fucking care. Like,
Oh, I don't care either. I'm with you. Bob, are you cool with that? If we don't have a first round pick for 3 years?
I really am. I think that if we are going to have a win now mode, we need to get into it, and he would put us to that next tier. So let's just go with it. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
and one thing I think a lot of people, everybody's, talking about, Quinn Hughes is because it's Quinn Hughes, right? But he does only have 2 years left on his deal, and that kind of affects the value paradigm that we're talking about here. Like it's like if it were 1-for-1 Brat for Quinn, I think they're getting a hell of a lot of value because they're getting 4 or 5 years of Brat that they can put alongside EP40, and that's a ton of value. They're getting Nemec, in his last year of his RFA. Like it's like that really comes into play a lot more, I think, than people just looking at the kind of player for player, because we're going to have to pay Quinn in 2 years. What's that contract going to look like? Fucking
Well, that does make a lot of sense.
15 million a year.
And well, here's the other thing too. Like you give up all those assets. So let me just throw a scenario out, right? We give up all the assets, whatever it is. We know it's going to be a lot. Quinn Hughes comes here. We have 2 years left on his contract. Let's say next year the team makes it to Stanley Cup final and loses. The year after, they win it. So now all 3 Hughes brothers have won the cup together. Is there a chance then Quinn says, I'm going to go for a payday somewhere, and I won it with my brothers. I did what I wanted to do. I don't need to be here for another 8 years. And then, here's my question though. Is that scenario okay with you? Because you won a cup. It doesn't fucking matter. Or like, no, we want him long term, and to give up that much just for Quinn Hughes for 2 years is not worth it.
And based on the melanoma that Bobby has on his back, I don't know if he's making it another 2 years. Need to win one now.
Don't fuck around with skin cancer, especially for us bald guys. I'm telling you, that's a serious.
Turbo is going to run you into an early grave.
He's awesome, man. He's so freaking cool.
Chris has got a new dog for.
Yes, I got a new puppy. His name is Turbo, and he's a lot of fun. He's pretty cool.
So our Devils name suggestions, they just fell on deaf ears.
Yeah, it did.
Like even Bastion.
I'm a little surprised because I don't think a lot of people name their dogs after Devils players. I think you would have been like the first.
I wanted to. I did go to Coney Waffle today and got New Jersey Devil ice cream, which is actual flavor. So I did get that.
What is the flavor of that?
Red raspberry with like chocolate fudge and Oreos.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty good.
Does that sound really good?
That sounds pretty good. I'd eat that. I'd actually hammer the fuck out of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing when we're done with
it,
I eat it after
American Pie.
How many times you watch American Pie?
You give Mike some suggestions for his new Honda van.
Yeah,
offer Devil's Candy out of the back. You'd be snatching kids left and right.
You guys ever been in a Honda Odyssey?
It has curtains.
It's captain's chairs. All right, let's talk some
illegal.
So Tim, we're gonna go over some UFAs tonight. A few guys that are available. Possibility, would they fit with New Jersey? Is it worth doing something like that? And we're going to talk a little bit about offer sheets and exactly what they are and how they're used, and if that's something we have to worry about losing any players to possible offer sheets, and or is there anybody that are offer sheetable that we might be interested in sheeting?
What the sheet is going on right now?
You working on that one all day, or what?
It just popped in my head. I was just driving. We were driving home. Back to the quick story about the dog. My son and I were driving home the other night. We're on the bridge coming to Tom's River, and we're going over different names. So at Ranger came out of my mouth. Like I'm like Ranger, and Sawyer's like, that's not terrible. I'm like, what the fuck did I just say? I just said I was going to name my dog Ranger. Like, I wasn't even, of course, thinking of that. But yeah, I almost threw myself off the bridge on that one.
Good catch.
Yeah, and every dog every Ranger fan does have a dog named Hank. You're right.
They do.
All right. So you
I
want
know,
to talk
I know a
about?
guy that has 2 cats named Nico and Jack.
I have two. My daughter one year for Christmas. Those prayer candles, the Jesus candles. She gave me two of those, but she took off Jesus, and one's Jack and one's Luke, and one's Justin Jefferson. So I have my three. So
Okay.
during really important games, I light my pray candle. I put it on the table and I pray
Yeah,
to
how'd that work
Jack
during the
Oh, yeah.
or
playoffs?
Luke.
It's not
This year I didn't light any because none of those fuckers were in the playoffs.
fair
There
enough.
you go.
So how about some UFAs, Tim? You got some UFAs on the list? Because I have 12 of them. There's an article written at 12 UFAs and kind
Alright.
of their contracts and where they're at. But so why don't we
Good deal.
kind of
I
you
mean,
start?
mine's a very shallow list. Like I honestly like I think we've done enough like with UFAs. Like I don't like if anything, maybe we find like a depth guy that I'm not thinking about, but
What?
of the big names,
A what guy?
a where guy?
I don't know. You said or maybe we get a something guy. I didn't understand the word you
A
said.
who guy?
Yeah, who
Depth
guy?
A who
A
guy?
dead guy?
A dead guy.
Dead guy's gonna
I
do it.
think dead guys can't play hockey. What are you
No,
talking about, Chris?
I don't know.
What-
Apparently.
Jesus. Have another
All
gummy,
right.
you hippie.
So-
Um
All right, Timmy, start us off.
the one guy that I'm really like very interested in that I think would be great is Nick Ehlers. Like he's far and away would be my number one UFA target. I don't think we should really dip our toes too deep into the UFA waters. I don't think we have enough money, but most of the shit we're gonna have to do is fill in with Luke's contract, potentially Glass's contract. So money's gonna have to move out. That's what I wrote the other day. It's like we're gonna have to get rid of 2 or 3, if not all 3, of Palat, Holla, and Hamilton to bring people in. So Nick Ehlers is the main guy. The other guy that's kind of interesting to me, I want to
Well,
get your
let's talk about Nick Ehlers real quick.
okay.
Hang on.
All right.
So here, Nick Ehlers is on this list. He turns, he'll be 29 on July 1st, not on July 1st, but when July 1st rolls around, free agency, he's 29. He plays both sides. He plays left and right wing. His cap hit right now is $6 million. And the write-up is, unlike the monster extensions for center Mark Scheifele and goalie Connor Hellebuck signed in 2023, just ahead of their walk years, all is quiet in Winnipeg on the Ehlers extension. A frequent subject of trade rumors, the speedy Dane was reportedly open to a change of scenery in the offseason, according to the fourth period. The Jets are the toast of the Western Conference, and the roughly point-per-game winger is tracking career highs in assists and points under new coach Scott Arnell. Kevin Cheveldayoff has been non-committal on the topic, often saying that he hopes his Jets win a Stanley Cup with Ehlers in June. Ehlers himself says everything is business as usual. So competing teams would surely try to outbid the Jets for Ehlers' service for this summer in a market thin on 25 goal scorers. It doesn't have an idea of what he's projected to get in the free agency market, but yeah, he's a point a game winger. And
so there's this place called AFP Analytics that projects out contracts and what they're going to be. So they have Ehlers pegged at 6 years, 8.1 million. Their contract projections are typically pretty accurate, so it'll probably be 8 to 8.3, which is a lot. That's a lot of money. But with the cap going up in a couple of years, that's like, who gives a fuck?
And with the cap going up in a couple of years, a 70-point, 25 goal a guy, that's what he's getting. You're gonna pay. You want a guy like that, you got to pay between 8 and 8.5 million.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before. One thing that I think we lost a lot of, and our forward group didn't really have an identity, so to speak. I think a lot of the national media was kind of clinging to a year or two ago and calling our forward group like, small and fast, which we just weren't at all small and fast. I think Ehlers really injects some of that speed back into our lineup that we need. There's a play, I think it was in an overtime game. I forget which one. Just recently in the playoffs, where there was a play like everybody looked like they were skating in mud, and then Ehlers just out of nowhere just carries it between 3 zones, just shot out of a rocket. The guy's so fucking fast. He's good. I think he'd work so well with Nico and Jack, Jack and Brett, or Timo and Nico. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Is like, we have basically 4 pairs of players, basically. Nico Timo, Jack Bratt. I think, Cotter, Nason are probably going to be our 4th line pair. Not really sure what's going on the 3rd line, but that's, probably Mercer Holla. So we kind of need to fill out the rest of the wings on that roster and the center on the 4th line. So kind of having Glass pegged in that 4th line center, Gritzuk in that 3rd line wing. So then that's, again, we're back to needing two top 6 wings, which is a problem, and a 3C.
Bob?
I like him. I mean, looking at his chart here, very consistent with the points and the 25 goals. What really stands out to me is we talk about plus minus a lot as being, somewhat of a reliable stat depending on how you're using it, but you kind of need a big sample size. And this guy has been like consistently in the upper or mid-teens, plus 27 2 years ago, plus 14 this year. There's a pattern there to the type of player he is, I'm sure. I would be a little concerned that it's Jesper Bratt 2.0, maybe, but maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe that's exactly what we need to get everybody going with his speed and everything. But he's a smaller guy, right? He's slight. He's like 175.
Yeah, and I think he does have a little bit of an injury history. That is kind of a concern. But
but the points are still there when he plays. So I mean, if we got him,
it's-
I'd be like, this is awesome. This is a great player to have. I don't know that it solves all of our problems, but it definitely adds that dimension of speed back again that we can certainly like to have a little
Especially
bit more.
that line. If you did have
Yeah.
an Ehlers Jack Bratt line, that might be one of the fastest lines in the NHL.
they would dog walk everyone that they play. It'd be
That would be
insane.
fun
And
to
then you put Quinn Hughes on D with those 3 on the same line. That's just fucking unfair.
I think I got a little zipper burn there.
Yeah.
Oh.
You get a wart on your dick or what? You're gonna get that maybe get those special band-aids out and some WD-40.
It's compound WD-40 spraying on your spot on your dick is not a good idea.
What's it do? What's it do when you?
Oh, you tell me that now.
What was that?
Great. Hang on, I'll be right back.
I got a squeaky dick. All right, who's the? Is that your bed?
Wait a second. There we go. Much better.
Don't worry, honey. There'll be no infection there. All right, who's your second UFA?
The only other guy that I have on my list is just I've seen his name thrown around a little bit, which is kind of interesting and not within the age bracket, so to speak, that we're trying to build is Claude Giroux. I think he'd be an interesting kind of 1, maybe 2-year project. He's still got some energy in the tank. He's not, the top 6 guy, but I think he would be our 3C and would be a great 3C to have.
I didn't even think about Claude Giroux, but I will say I absolutely love Claude Giroux. I mean, he is an awesome teammate. He's a leader. He's a dude that will do absolutely anything that is asked for him. And him in 3C, you're talking a 1-2 year project. If we have anybody in the pipeline that might be able to take over, if that's the thinking, I like that.
Yeah, he's just old as fuck. He's 37.
And what are you talking for? 4.5 million?
2 years. Yeah, it's what do they have him projected at? 5 and change. So that's a little much. But yeah, I think 2 years, 5. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
What do you think of Claude Giroux?
I'm not in love with that one. It's for his age and his decline over the last few years and what the, I know it's just an estimate of what it would cost. When I put all that together and the fact that it's not like we're bringing in this championship pedigree that's been there before and done it. It's just he was a really good player.
He's a grinder, though. But my thing is, can we
find somebody else to do that for?
And can he play every game? Like, is Claude
I wouldn't
Giroux
be
going to be
comfortable
an
with
82 game guy and give us the playoffs too? Like, that does worry me a little bit.
And I've thought about it, and it's like it's kind of the cut from the sort of Tanev cloth, the 40-year-old that just sort of somehow miraculously is still playing. It's that meme of like, here he comes, the old weathered running back. He's on his last legs, and the guy's like 32 years old.
George Brett humbling up to the plate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's a little out of the box. I think if we get to the point where we're looking at 2 years of $5 million of Claude Giroux, shit's gone horribly wrong. But I don't think it's the craziest thing. And as a 3C, 13, 14 minutes a night. We're not going to, take some PK pressure off. I'm looking for someone to take pressure off of Nico defensively and face-off wise, and I think he could be a guy.
All right. Well, I'll go through some of these guys on this list, and we don't have to read everything about them. Just yay or nay. Of course, number one. I mean, this guy. Look, he's going to sign a huge contract. It's Mitch Marner. He's not going to be a Devil. There's no way in hell the Devils could afford. What's he going to get? 13, 14 million.
Yeah.
This is a move that the Rangers make, in my opinion. Like, this is what they try to go all in and get Mitch Marner in New York. I honestly believe that will be their big game, to take Fitz's words. So I mean, look, I would love to see Mitch Marner on this Devil team, but he's an amazing player. There's something about the dude I just don't like. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just his cockiness or whatever. There's just something about him. Not his hockey play. I think he's an awesome player, but there's just something about him I don't like. What do you guys think of Mitch Marner?
I think in another time and place, I'd love to have him on the team, but it's just unrealistic to even talk about it. We're not going to get him for that much money. And if we did, we got to subtract 2. I always talk about like the big hockey trade, but you're talking about clearing the books off like a Meyer and some other big deal.
Right.
I'd rather put those assets to getting Quinn Hughes, quite frankly. And I mean, he's a hell of a hockey player, but I just don't think it would ever work.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. Some of the shit he can do. And actually, Bob, I meant to text you, like, for your kid. Like, just watching him, the way he skates and moves on the ice is like something of nobody else skates and moves like he does. Just the way he receives pucks and like kind of.
Thank you. I didn't know my kid was doing that good, but that's awesome to hear.
No, but can contort his body. But if like your kid's undersized, there's a perfect fucking example of a guy who's undersized, but the way he kind of contorts his body and kind of opens up his hips to be able to accept pucks and the shit he does with the puck, it's just unbelievable. But I think we're kind of tapped out on the small to mid-size skill guys.
I would love to watch him play with Jack Hughes, though.
Yeah, I mean, those two would be fucking ridiculous together.
Yeah. So the next guy that we'll talk about absolutely solves our speed problem. I mean, this guy is lightning. John Tavares. Did I say lightning? I meant crippled turtle in mud. John Tavares. I actually like John Tavares, and he still played. I mean, this year he played great this year. You're talking about a 3C. John Tavares is a damn good 3C. Right now, his cap hit is 11 million. I don't think John Tavares expects a nickel over 6.5, maybe with this next contract, because he's not John Tavares anymore. Nobody's paying him over $11 million.
He's been playing really well in the playoffs.
I know.
I'll give him that.
But if you can get, what are they projecting his contract at? Because I can't see any team paying him more than 11 million at his age. Like, to me, it's a
7.9. 3 years. 3 years is 7.9.
All right.
I think honestly, for him to re-sign in Toronto, I think he'll re-sign there for like fucking 2. I just think he wants to just stay in Toronto,
especially if they don't win the cup.
Yeah,
I think he'll definitely want to stay. But yeah, that's a good possibility. He's more likely, in my opinion, to re-sign with Toronto than Marner is.
Yeah, because it's a more affordable get if you had to pick between the two, and the one gets priced out. And I think everybody's going to be wanting Marner.
There's going to be a bidding war for Marner.
Yeah.
I'm so curious what happens, because so much still hinges on what happens in these playoffs. And they're now back tied up with Florida. Their magic dust seems to be wearing off. A lot of the Toronto fans on Twitter are ready to fucking march out and then hang Austin Matthews from. I don't know.
It really is awesome to watch.
Oh my God, they're melting the fuck down over a point per game guy in the playoffs, and who's clearly hurt. Like, this guy can't shoot like he usually does. Something is absolutely wrong with him.
Right.
But I love watching Toronto fans lose their shit.
So, I mean, John Tavares, if you can get him at a good price point, I would absolutely take John Tavares.
Yeah, I would. I just don't think we can afford him. And, like you said, he's a turtle.
Now, another guy who I absolutely would love is Sam Bennett. Right now, his cap hit is 4.4. He's going to get a nice bump. I mean, I could see probably 7.5 for Sam Bennett now. There's another.
AFP has him at 6 years, 6.6.
Okay, even
I
better.
think he's gonna get more than that.
Sam Bennett, I think, if you're going to make a free agent move, like say it's one big guy, like, okay, we're going to solve 3C in free agency, or we're going to, take care of Jack Swinger in free. That's what we're going to get. Everything else, we'll maybe do trades or we'll call some guys up, but we're going to go for those big guys. One of those dudes, Sam Bennett, needs to be on his radar. He brings so much to the game. Florida doesn't win the cup last year without Sam Bennett on that team. They don't make it to the final without Sam Bennett on this team. He's a big game player. He's, maybe his regular season is, always kind of pedestrian, but there's a dude that turns it up every single time the calendar turns to the playoffs. I absolutely think that if you are going to go after anybody in free agency, as much as Nick Ehlers I would like Sam Bennett better.
He's got that it factor, right? And he's got that kind of champion pedigree in the playoffs. Yeah, it's just kind of a monster in a way. You'd really feel comfortable with him out there solidifying that third line. And I'd be all about it. And quite frankly, that's not a bad price. I don't think we're priced out of that one. I think that's very affordable. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a move that would pay off more than enough over the years.
I will drive Eric Holla and Andre Palat to the fucking, to LaGuardia, because you can't drive, because Newark Airport's a fucking disaster right now. I'll drive them to LaGuardia myself. I'll start in Maryland, pick them up, drive them to LaGuardia, and drive back just to fucking free up the money for Sam Bennett.
I'm with you. Yeah, that should definitely be something that Fitzgerald tries for. But who the hell knows what Fitzgerald's going to fucking do this offseason?
He knows exactly what he has to do, Chris. He knows exactly what this team needs.
He's starting to sound like somebody that I really don't like. I'm the only guy that could take care of it. I know exactly what the Devils need. Don't worry.
We're going to give him a big, beautiful contract.
Dude,
biggest contract anyone's ever seen.
Jack Hughes is going to have the greatest right wing.
These contracts.
Greatest right wing next to him. You don't know who he is. He might be American. He should be American. Personally, I think he should be American. But if he's Canadian, like Ovechkin, then okay, we can deal with that. Oh, fuck my ass. Anyway, next guy, Brock Besser. Brock Besser, another guy, another Vancouver casualty. Jesus Christ, man. I would fucking hang myself from a bridge if I was a Canuck fan. Like, everything is falling apart. They're gonna riot again. So, okay, Brock Besser, 6.65 is his salary. 28 years old. Do we all like Brock Besser? I just think Brock Besser is going back home. I think he's going to be a Minnesota Wild this year in free agency. I kind of think that's a foregone conclusion, and they could be a very dangerous team with Brock Besser on it. But what are they saying his projected cap hit is? I would say like 8.5, 9.
It's Besser. Is it E before? Before E. Okay. It was 6.8, 6 at 8.5. That just seems so much for him. Like, I don't know. There's just he's just got fucking lead for feet. You're talking him and Nikolai Ehlers, right? They're going to be around the same price point, same position, right? You got to go with Ehlers over Besser. I feel like Ehlers, there's a lot more utility to his game besides points, and Besser's Toffoli 2.0. That's kind of how I
like that comparison.
How I view him.
Bob?
Oh yeah, all things being equal with those, estimate salaries being right around the same, I would definitely go Ehlers in that situation. I'd go with the speed and kind of the flash there a little bit more than this guy.
And it's also like, what you have to start considering with some of these guys is, not just where you put them on 5-on-5, but a huge chunk of their production comes from the power play. Every single elite player, a huge chunk of their production comes from the power play. So Brock Besser's spot on the power play is and should be Jack Hughes' spot on the power play. So he's not usurping Jack on power play 1. So what do? You put him on power play 2, where he gets 30 seconds, and the 35, 40 goals he's scoring in Vancouver suddenly looks like Timo's numbers, because Timo wasn't getting power play 1 time. So suddenly you have this guy you're paying $8.5 million for that's on your second power play and is scoring 25 goals a year that the entire fan base wants to fucking throw into the river.
It's a good point. Good point. All right. Another guy who's going to be a UFA, just yay or nay. We're not going to talk much into him. It's Brad Marchand. I'm a nay.
It'd be interesting. We do need a greasy fucking rat.
Yeah. The guy has success wherever he goes. I don't know. I don't love the guy, but worse things have happened.
I do like Brad Marchand. He's fucking funny, man. His interviews are hilarious.
He's an awesome hockey player. To me, though, I've hated Brad Marchand for so long. I don't know if I could ever be a Brad Marchand fan as a Devil. I've just always hated him.
If Florida can do it, if Florida can get over it.
That's true. That's true.
I could get over it. Look, depending on what are we looking at? What are they projecting him? Hang on.
Brad Marchand,
this list is great, by the way. It's got like hundreds of fucking names on it.
This year his salary cap hit was 6.125. I can't see Marchand getting a whole lot more than that on the free agency market.
2 years at 5. He's 37.
Yeah.
That seems to make sense, but it's just like
$5 million a year for him, and you throw him in this maybe play on the third line with Mercer,
that would be
Nason.
I think it's better served as kind of that late season playoff pickup.
Yeah,
and just have it on my team for a year or two.
I could see him going back to Boston. Like this just being like a little, fling, cheating on your wife type of thing on a trip to Jamaica.
More like a hall pass, really.
I could maybe see him re-signing with Florida.
Yeah, there's that too. But that third line that they've been running out there has been one of their best lines. Like Matty Tkachuk's been kind of quiet, but I think Lundell, Marchie, and Luosterainen or whatever the fuck his name is. They've been a good line.
Campbell says, "Imagine Marchie on the Devils in the Garden." That's true.
Exactly.
All right, I'll take them.
I've been saying this for years, and Sam Bennett would solve this problem.
Yes, he would.
What's wrong? If you want to have one, why not have two? It's just a greasy fucking prick, like a Claude Lemieux, gets under the skin, just an asshole. Like, we don't have any of those guys. We have a lot of nice guys. We do. Kind of need an asshole. I wanted to see a little more asshole out of Eric Hall. I feel like he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, but he's just not good enough to be an effective asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Stefan Nason, kind of an asshole, but he's also not good enough. So we need a good asshole. And
in my opinion, Sam Bennett takes care of that problem. But, Florida's got both of them. Why can't you make a play on both of them, I guess,
nice,
right?
Good, bleached, clean asshole.
Next guy, Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson's a good player. And we do have a 3C problem, depending on what we give up for Quinn Hughes. I like Brock Nelson.
I do too. He's a good player.
Yeah. I don't know what his projected is. A $6 million hit now. Is he going to get that much of a raise?
Yeah, 3 at 7.
Yeah, okay. I like him.
Yeah, I like him too. They just, that Four Nations picture of him, I just can't get it out of my head.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it's just this picture of him in his U.S. jersey because he's prematurely gray,
right?
And he's like kind of like a weathered looking guy. So it just literally looks like the after picture of like a soldier that came home from World War II. So people were posting pictures. They put it in like that sepia tone and like just post online. He's like, "Dearest Gwendolyn, I send you a note from the front lines. We have moved on Normandy and we plan to jump out of the U-boat tomorrow. This may be the last letter I ever write."
All right, we get it.
He's a fucking hell of a player, though. He's a very
good player, and I would be okay with him. Bob, what do you think of Brock Nelson?
I'd be okay with him short term, but I feel like it's starting to be the beginning of the end for him already. Just looking at his age, and then just quickly looking at, and it's not even terrible. He was 4 years ago, was 36 goals, then 34, then it dropped to 20, and I guess injured this year, 19 games, 6 goals. That doesn't scream to me that there's a player falling off. It just kind of says to me, another one of these 36, 37-year-olds you're going to get for 2-3 years. You're going to get 1 year out of them. That's not where I would go.
Yeah, that's what worries me about these UFA contracts because just we've seen it. Like Dougie's contract is probably at the end of its rope. Palat's contracts at the end of its rope.
That's why, in my opinion, Tom Fitzgerald needs to identify one bigger name, one name from a guy off this list, whatever
Yeah.
he thinks that he wants to solve, whatever issue it is. And the reason I say that is because you have to start now bringing some youth up. Like we have to have guys in our system, like Lenny Hamada, whatever his name is,
Hamaniho.
Is this dude going to get a spot? I mean, is there room for him? I'd like to see this kid on the team. We have Gitzlick, or I don't know his name.
Gritzuk. But it's also there's Foot and Hallinan, Gritzuk, and
right.
Hallinan, that kid LeBears that came up.
Like we have to start bringing some of these dudes into the fold. They, because if you actually look at our bottom six, I find I'm very hard pressed for anybody to convince me that we have dudes that we could have brought up that would have given us less production.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think we're in more of pay a little extra for shorter term type of situation with some of these guys if we can maybe go over the top. So yeah, it hurts a little bit right now, but with more of kind of an eye towards the future than trying to just kind of say, oh, what's the best bang for our buck that we can have somebody here for term? Like, why do you give this guy a bunch of term and then he gets older on you? I would be more apt to do that.
Unless you identify a younger person that you feel like, they could be a part of the team, maybe just going on to getting out of an ELC, a 23, 24, 25-year-old that you can bring into the fold on a UFA contract and see take off. But yeah, you're right. This guy I like.
Steven Engel's right. Yeah, like LaChance, Hamanio, Squires, Wolofsky.
I want to see LaChance on this team. Like this dude's a good player.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Is he not?
No, he's good-ish. Like he's a fourth line is like his ceiling.
That's his ceiling, you think?
I think, yeah. Just a big ass fourth liner. Huge cock.
Matt Duchesne.
Huh.
Another old guy for you, Bob.
I haven't thought about him in years.
Did he have a dad who played?
Maybe $3 million. That's all he's getting. He's 34. I mean,
he resurrected his career in Dallas. Like they, why
doesn't he just stay in Dallas?
I think he should. But this AFP has him at 3 years at 7.2. So
3 years at 7.2 per.
Yeah, that's a bit much. Well, $7 million for a 37-year-old in 3 years. That just doesn't sit well with me. But he's a good center. Would be a good 3C.
This is exactly the type of player where I'm saying if you could work out a 1 year and pay him a little bit more over the top, like I'd be okay with that. But even at that rate, at the 7 and 8 million, that starts to give me a little bit of cringe.
How about Mikael Granlund? Duchesne or Granlund, right? Same player. What are $5 million. He's a UFA.
I feel like all these guys are kind of in the same.
They're all the same guy.
Yeah, but they're the kind of guy that we need. Like a sort of two-way guy, maybe strong defensively that can take some heat off of Nico. That's a veteran that's been around. That's got a little bit of size. I don't need a 6'6", 250-pound monster. Playing 3C that can't skate for shit. We need someone to be able to skate and keep up, but also take some pressure off of Nico. That can PK. They can maybe step into the power play too.
Brock Nelson there, Granlund there.
Granlund, Duchesne, Brock Nelson, even Claude Giroux.
Yep.
Even looking at trades, what's his name in Nashville, Ryan O'Reilly. Like, I feel like those guys are all very similar.
All right. How about this dude? Curious what you guys think. It's only $2 million this year. Left winger, 29-year-old, Ryan Donato.
No.
Why?
I think he went on a shooting bender this year, and he's never, ever, ever going to replicate that production. Came out of nowhere, had one good season, and that's it.
But do you like the other things he brings? He's a feisty guy. He's plays with a bit of an edge. Yeah, I think so. I think he's a pain in the ass.
Sure. Fuck it. Then yes, you changed my mind. I'm easy.
I mean, we're talking about the bottom six. You
Yeah,
know,
3 years, $4 million. You know, I have to look at kind of because I feel like he right after the trade deadline, he like didn't score a goal for like the rest of the year. I could be making that up, but I really think he was like just on an absolute shooting bender almost all year.
I don't know enough
And fell
about
off.
Yeah.
his numbers, but
Well,
Bob,
it's obvious that it was a career year that I doubt he's going to have. He was consistently more like he had a 14, 6, 16, 14, 12, 31. So he goes over, he got an increased ice time with Chicago, about 2 more minutes per game than the year before, and about
There you go.
5 more minutes a game than the year before that. I think
What was the shooting percentage?
I don't have that.
Are you looking at NHL.com?
Yes, I am. Hold on.
DJ Campbell says he's a holy roller, would never play for the Devils.
Why am I?
I don't know.
To
Is he a religious
Stephen
guy?
Engel's comment, the 2 second rounders. Is he a Jesus guy?
Yeah,
Is
he?
I
Is
don't
he?
want a fucking Jesus guy in this.
I think it'd be kind of fun to have a Jesus guy in the Devils.
Really? Just a weird, like, super religious guy that like doesn't play on Sundays.
Right, doesn't play on Sundays. Just goes around telling everybody how they're trying to get the Devils to change their name, that kind of thing. All the guys in the locker room.
Stephen Engel's question, it's about our second round picks. I do see them probably using them in trades this year.
Well, does Vancouver want them?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's trade our entire draft haul this year and next year for Quinn Hughes. Like,
I would
give them all the futures in the world.
I would do that. I would do it for players I'm not going to see for 5 years.
It's gonna help Jack find Jesus.
Well, if Jesus does shoulder surgery, he probably already knows him.
We're about to get a free sandwich from that shoulder doctor.
Yeah, it's like orthopedic Oprah. You get a shoulder surgery, and you get a shoulder surgery.
You're gonna go in with a punch. Gonna go with a punch card.
And that's the other thing. Like, does it really? I mean, really, in the end, does it really fucking matter what we do in this offseason? Jack's gonna get hurt again. Dougie, if he's on the team, is gonna get hurt again. Meyer will get hurt again. Nico will be out a bunch of games.
It's pretty nihilistic of you.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be what's the trending.
Probably all the more reason to try to.
Doesn't matter. We're all gonna die anyway.
Yeah, you're right. We should probably keep the age down. Yeah. So
I
all right, so
there are so many. A lot of these free agents are guys, that are 32 to 35. I think our experience with that hasn't gone great. And it's a younger man's league these days. There's a very few players that can kind of defy the odds on that.
Yeah. But, Captain Overcorrection is probably going to go out there somehow and, try and get all these freaking guys. Every guy over the age of 36, at least.
Praise Jesus, Husky and Jane. Praise Jesus.
All right. So, listen, it's getting kind of late. Do you want to just quick go over?
Yeah. So there are 4.
Sheets?
Yeah, there are 4 RFAs that James Nichols actually wrote a column today that was pretty good. Mike Ruff's arch nemesis, but there are 3 guys he identified: Marco Rossi, Mason McTavish, and JJ Peterka.
I think Marco Rossi.
Yeah, I do too. That could right a wrong about that Holtz draft and bring him in. And he's Bill Guerin's made some weird comments about him, about not really committing to keeping him around long term. He got bumped down.
I heard that too. You're right.
He got bumped down to the bottom 6 in Minnesota's lineup for no particular reason. But I'd like him. And actually, what was the projection on him? 1 second.
Bob, what do you think of Marco Rossi?
I'm trying to pull up. I actually don't know enough about him, to be honest, and my computer's not cooperating. So you're gonna have.
He's a good guy. Kind of was AHL, NHL for a couple of years. Came up to the NHL level finally, and has sort of got fucked around with a little bit in their NHL lineup. So long term, 7.74. That would be his long term deal. Short term, 2 by 4.5. So I think that's something doable. So that would be an offer sheet for him.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that idea. And then Peterka would be 7 times 7.8 or 2 times 4.6. So he's the guy on Buffalo
Is he a
That
defenseman?
no,
Oh,
he's a
okay.
forward. No,
I'm
these
thinking
are
of
all
someone
forwards.
else.
So we're our
Okay.
defense. Our
I was
defense.
thinking
Yeah,
of somebody. I'm like, why are we talking about a defenseman?
our
I
defense
got confused.
is set. Yeah, our
Yeah,
defense is
that's
set.
why I questioned it.
And then Mason McTavish would be 6 times 6.8 or 3 times 4. So McTavish is a pure center, which is interesting. I don't know if he'd be
Where is he?
interested.
He's out west, right?
He's in Anaheim, yeah.
Anaheim, right?
So they're getting, Coach Q of the questionable background in. But what's interesting, I don't know if you guys have ever seen how offer sheets work and like what we have to do to give them up. So I just wanted to show you this. It's actually pretty interesting. Puckpedia has a pretty good graphic way to show it. So, Chris, if you want to put that up, you stoner.
Yep.
So I don't know if you can read this. Can you read it?
No, but actually, I'm enlarging mine, so yeah. No, I still can't read it. Yeah, a little bit.
So basically, the offer sheet on the left is the offer sheet AAV, and there are different tiers, right? And then
We lose Tim.
is that better, Grandpa?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
that's
better.
good.
You got quiet.
I broke my computer. Okay. So there's offer sheet AAV, and then what the corresponding
Gotcha.
compensation would be. So like above 11 change, 4 first-round picks. But like those guys in like this range at 4.5 to like 6.8 million, like giving up a first-round pick and a third-round pick, that's fucking nothing. Like I'd give that up in a heartbeat for that. Yeah, and even below 4.5 is just a second-round pick. Like it's really not like I think people were led to believe, that offer sheets, like there's this massive compensation on them. And that's really kind of for these, like the 9 to 11 is 2 first-round picks, a second and a third.
Yeah,
like,
it's really designed
this kind of
keep
range.
Your elite. It's designed to keep your elite.
It's
prospect.
not the worst.
Right.
Yeah.
Bob, I got you.
It tries to kind of value out what you would be paying for that guy versus, what that guy would be worth in kind of draft pick compensation. And as you can see, it says eligible teams on Puckpedia as well. So we'd be eligible to offer every single one of these, at every single one of these teams.
At every level.
So anyway, that's
awesome.
RFA,
and again, it's always part of
101.
Kind of like the full package and what you have going on, right? What other moves did you make that might precede this where you're like, okay, now this is the way we have to go to get that one more player to really push us to be competitive? Or maybe you wound up landing somebody in a trade you didn't see coming, and now you really know that you can go, you had your sights on an A-list guy or whatever, and you can drop it down now to like this other level, and then you can really determine when it becomes worth it, because that's the one kind of theme that we've been saying throughout when we have these discussions. And it's fun to look at under a microscope because, we're looking at UFAs and we're looking at this and do you want them and really help your team? It's always been about, well, what other moves happen? That's what makes it so hard to question, right? If we go out and get somebody that can legit score 40, dare I say 50 goals on Jack's wing one year, maybe our 3C expectation can come down a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you're getting so much in one that you've got to kind of look at the full package. But more than anything, I think we've just learned over and over again. It sounds so cliche. You just got to build the right team. You can't always just pluck like the perfect player, or like the Mitch Marner situation. Like you really do have to build a team where there are identified roles and certainly guys who are capable of stepping up or down. You need that fluidity, of course. But for the core of it and for the majority of your season and your play, you want that consistency and that defined role and that complete buy-in. And I think that comes with more about, again, finding the right player than finding, the best offensive player, the best whatever. So,
and that does also come down to your guys in your system, and moving them up and having them take over those certain roles. And, where you're not every year having to dip your entire leg into the free agency pool and, trying to trade guys away. It's just, you're right. You got to build.
Learning where they go. Tim, wasn't it you in one of the conversations we had where you were, I don't know if it was with us or in one of your writings, but it's like Gritsuk, Like, there's probably a contingent of Devil fans out there say, "Oh, we just solved our top, forward line problem." And it's like, no, it's not really how you want to handle this. You want to like bring him into the organization, get him going, maybe find that help from the outside, to really get that true top winger. You don't want to bring in this rookie to do that. Yeah, he might
because
have a
the
great
last
year,
thing
but
we want to happen is you throw him on Jack's wing and he can't keep up, and suddenly we're screaming, about him, and then he gets dropped to the fourth line. It's it's Holtz 2.0.
Right.
I honestly think he should start in the AHL. I do. I think, especially Russian players, they should at least spend some time down there, start learning how to play the other side of the puck.
Tempering expectations for this kid, and we can't make an assumption that he is going to be this. I hope he is. I think he can be. But we need to temper our expectations about what he will. And he came over here to play in the NHL. He didn't come over here to play in the AHL. So it's on him as well. It's kind of the same as the Simon Nemec comments, where it's like, all right, pal, like if you are so convinced that you're an NHL level talent, you have to step up and prove it too.
Right. It's within his power to do that. And if he does go to the AHL, and he shows that he deserves to be in the NHL, that will happen. It's not going to be one of those block situations or years of service. Like if he legit makes his team better, he'll play here.
Yeah.
Another guy that
Another
guy I want to try and figure out a way to get, as we talked about him at the deadline, is Jared McCann. Yeah. I think him or Raquel. Him or Raquel, if we could figure out a way to swing a trade with him.
It's going to be an interesting offseason. It really is, because it's obvious that we're not running it back with the same team. That's, Fitz had said it himself. So what, he's not going to go throw anybody under the bus, but I think we all have ideas of who he's talking about, of guys that are not going to be here, that he has no interest in keeping. Is that just the dudes that are UFAs, or does he have, ideas of cutting people or trading people, or, that's what I want to know. It's be a pretty exciting summer.
The most obvious thing in the world to look at is look at our roster and be like, there are 3 big money contracts that we need to figure out a way to get out of if we're going to be able to add anything of significance. Yep. Like it's 4 actually, including Mercer. And for Mercer, like, this is a shit or get off the pot year. Like, if we keep him, he loses all value if he puts up another one of these kind of middling seasons. Or do we trade him to Buffalo for something because Lindy Ruff, wants him to move into his basement? Or did Burnett really like him in Nashville? Do we swap Mercer for someone in Nashville?
Well, what do you guys think of? Let's just finish up with Mercer. Like, do you think he deserves another year on here, or should he be a number 1 asset that we try and move this offseason?
I don't think
you want to give him another chance.
I mean, obviously it's an either or in what might happen, but I think those are just conversations that just kind of happen organically, maybe in trade discussions. I think that I would prefer he does get another shot. I still think value for the player is there. And I just think if we, like we talked about, if we can get rid of the expectation of him as a first, second line guy, commit to a third line role, a couple tweaks here and there, I think he's very serviceable. And you can say all you want about, middling year, but you're going to replace him with probably another middling year type of player.
But he's got.
I think he's got more upside than that.
You're right, though. He's got to stay at 3C. Like, you talk about having, designated roles, like that needs to be Mercer's. That needs to be where he lives for the rest of his career. That's who he is, and he could be a really good one because he showed me a lot in the playoffs, and he was playing up. But I think if you give him 3C and a couple of good players around him, I like what Mercer showed at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat, and he's, his versatility and his, showing up is, what is it? The best ability is availability. Yeah. Being there and showing up is important. He plays our first penalty kill was bounced between the first and second power play. I don't know if that's an indictment on the talent we had or if that's actually what he is. But I think for only $4 million, it's really not the end of the world. Like, if I were to prioritize the guys that are under contract moving forward, he would be 4th on my list of guys that I think need to get out of here.
Yeah, I agree.
I would say Palat, Dougie, Holla, Mercer.
Yeah, Stephen Engel says that Mercer, he can't win faceoffs. He gets pushed around. I've been saying for a long time about him getting pushed around. It's been the ongoing joke on this show for a long time. But at the same time, I think, he can fill out. It's not that these are things he can do to help himself. He can get bigger. He can get stronger because he has the right attitude. So, that's something that, again, comes down to he has to prove it.
And that's
Austin
why I
Mercer
think he
really
was.
does want to be on this team. He's got to prove that he deserves to fucking be here next year because he really hasn't shown shit for 2 years.
And that's why I think he was more successful as a center towards the end of the year than he was on the wings. Because we pointed out multiple times that he loses every single board battle he's in. I mean, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the amount of times the puck was on his stick to try and get it out of the zone from the wing position, and he flubs it or can't get a zone exit. That was frustrating. But he was more successful at it being in the center of the ice because he's not, attached to hip to the boards. I think that works for him. But he
Good
does.
point.
Fitz name checked him last summer, and it didn't seem like he really took that seriously. And maybe Fitz is talking about him again. If you're expecting him to get to that 27 goal level, he underperformed. Hala underperformed. Palat underperformed. Timo didn't score the amount of goals that we wanted him to score, even though I think I still think he was fine. But
nobody's safe. This is awesome.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, it's gonna be
but
fun.
yes, but Palat's the first guy we need to fucking get rid of. Then Dougie is probably the next guy that we need to get rid of. Although my only concern there is how long Kovacevic is going to miss at the beginning of the year because we're running Nemec and Casey on the right side again to start the year, and that was kind of a mess to begin start.
It's not going to matter because we have Quinn. Good.
That's right.
Dougie's a good player. Somebody will take him. Somebody wants a power play. I'm responding to Steven Engels.
Yeah, Dougie will end up in Anaheim. And
What the hell?
All right, guys, wrap this thing up.
He needs to go somewhere with museums.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
That's LA, right? They got museums. All right. We're gonna wrap this thing up.
Seattle,
Thanks, guys,
Vancouver,
for hanging out tonight. Vancouver. Yeah, definitely. Be awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna kill it. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. This has been a lot of fun, and we will see you guys when we see you.
I forget my new catch. What's my new out? Shit.
What is it? Hurry up.
Oh, God damn. Go fuck yourself, Alec.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!